Hello, my friend. I got to take a closer look at this lovely ukulele, and a few things that stand out to me I'd like to point out. I always wondered what these little dots are on the side, and it turns out that they indicate intervals, specifically a fourth and a fifth, and then a minor seventh, and then the octave, and so on. But now these two are very important because the fourth and the fifth are, you would say, the very essence of the Western music system. So apart from that, is the positioning. Like I noticed that a lot of people are holding it like this, but somehow when you're holding it in the middle and just kind of upright, it feels more natural. You know, when you strum it, and also when you fret it, I guess it's called. And then your hand gets to sit on something as opposed to holding, and also it feels more natural, right? So anyway, that's a couple of things that sort of stand out to me. And then again, I don't know if this is a valid sort of viewpoint, but when you look down at the fret, and I'll show you right now. From the upright position, you get this sort of view, as opposed to this. So I think it makes for a better perspective when you lay your fingers, when you look for particular frets. Now, I don't know. I guess we'll find out down the road if that is a valid point or not. One other thing, I'm guessing it might be the case, is that when you put your hand on the fretboard, your four fingers will take up 4 frets at the time. And then when you move it down, you kind of just go to the next 4 and so on. Obviously, because of the size of this fretboard, it becomes a bit impractical to do that all the way down. But it does work for the first 2 8 frets, sort of. And the third set of, like, going to the 12, it gets a bit awkward. So you can kind of only put one finger tip at the time. Now, I figured out the notes in the G major scale, so I'll try and do those on the first set, on the first 4 frets. So it'll be open G, again this one came out of tune. Happens quite often also. So the top 2 keep coming out of tune. I guess this bit here, it keeps sorting itself every time it pulls. Eventually, I'm hoping it will stay. Anyhow. So that's the scale of G major. And you can continue G, though, open A, all the way down to stay in the key of G major. You can find 3 more notes. Very clunky, but basically that's the key of G major on the first 4 frets, and then it goes on. Now, I spend quite some time printing the same chart over and over, so I basically put this in a spreadsheet and then printed it and had tried to find the pattern specifically for playing the notes in the key of G major, all the way from the lowest to the highest. And I'll show you how I do that. So this is a sketch of the fretboard, and we have the indicators here on the left. And by the way, I forgot to say, These are very useful, not just to show intervals, but also to help you when you position your hand on the fretboard. So if you divide the fretboard the same way I did here, 4 main sections and then the rest here, this will help you find the positions for your hand. If you know that, first of all, we're assuming that every single pitch is going to be played by the same finger every single time. So with that in mind, these will help you figure out where your hand goes exactly. So you know that this one is always going to be the one that indicates where your first finger goes, and this one for the third, and this one for the second, and this one for the pinky, and so on. Now, obviously when you play chords, things change slightly, but the main position of most of your fingers will stay the same, in theory. The notes that I've highlighted here, so I've divided the fretboard in 4 main sections, and you have the open string notes here, and then I've highlighted the notes, the pitches in the key of G major, going from the lowest to the highest. In this first section here, except for this, I've omitted this because you have it here in open string, so it's easier to play the open string while this finger moves to F sharp, from D4 to F sharp 4. And one other thing, the notes are available more than once on the fretboard. What I've done here is I've highlighted them as if you were to play them as only one time from the lowest to the highest, the same way you do on the piano, where you have, so the lowest is G3 and it goes all the way up to D6 and so on to D6. So it's linear the same way it is on the piano. So on the piano you can only find a specific pitch once. So for example, G4, you only find it once here. Whereas on the fretboard, things are very different. You can find G4 quite a few times. So let's see, it's once here, where else? Twice. It's got to be another time. Okay, maybe not. Oh no, there is. So 1, 2, 3. So they kind of go in the oblique line, like so. And there are some that you find them 4 times. So from 1 instance to up to 4 times, I think it is, on the fretboard. It's kind of a matrix, in a slanted matrix. Anyhow, and then for the rest, with the help of a tuner, I found every single specific pitch going up and down the fretboard. So here, going from the lowest to the highest, with most of the notes in the first position, and then the rest going down the bottom string. And then here, it's the same pitches, the same, I think it's 19, but I've divided them, I've highlighted them in a way that they're divided almost equally among the 4 main sections. So this sort of work might seem pointless, but I think it's very important for anybody who's trying to figure out the string instrument of any kind to know the exact pitches and where they are on the fretboard. Especially because, like I said, some of them repeat more than once, more than twice. There are apps I've seen where I've seen a guitarist once sort of use this app where it checks, so it tells the pitch name and then you play it and it checks whether you play the correct one. It's quite cool. I don't know what it's called. By the way, if you do know, give me a shout in the comments. I would love to find out. So yeah, doing that sort of thing, sketching out all the pitches on the fretboard seems like a crazy thing to do, but I think it's very important. It took me a whole hour probably to do that. So trying to figure out a how to play chords. When you look at a chart like that, it's easier to build chords, especially before you know all the pitches, you know exactly where they are. I guess it's easier to see them in front of you and then build a chord like that. So I managed to build to find 3 chords, which then I looked up, and they're complicated. I guess they're not just plain old triads. It's like this one. So this is G major. Just a G sus4 or something. And then it's a lovely G major going to G sus4 to C major, but it sounds so lovely. And I was only able to find these with the help of that chart. It's tricky to go back to a chord where after one that is played like open. Also open, this is quite unusual, I guess, not having to place your hand on the fret anywhere. But anyhow, this is the first couple of things that I figure out about the ukulele. I hope it's helpful. If you have any such secrets to share, do post them and send the link or leave a comment. Let people know somehow. Ciao.